Missing, lost, trafficked, investigations. I'm Pebbles, executive
You see
news
what I'm saying?
producer, creator,
Everything
and
should start here in
writer.
the airways about August 11th.
We're looking everywhere, in bushes, in ditches, in roads, everywhere. We've even gotten shot at looking.
Thing I can think about is my child's out there somewhere.
The mother's house, by the mother's house, is where they're protected.
Hard night tonight. I can't sleep. Had so many things going through my head.
I thank you so very much. I have here the commander of the Ohio Special Response Team, Mr. Dale Thompson. So I thank you so very much, Mr. Thompson, for taking time out of your day to speak with Missing, Lost in Traffic. And so thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for the invite. Very
All
much
right.
appreciated.
Wonderful. And so I learned about the Ohio response team while reporting on a case out of Ohio, an unfortunate incident, whereas that was a young lady, a young teen who had gone missing, and she was recently recovered from Lake Erie. She was recently recovered deceased. And so that's how I learned about the services that your team provides for citizens in Ohio and nationwide due to an interview I ran across that conducted by local media out there. And so what I would like to know is, what motivated you to launch this special response team?
I actually am not one of the founding members. I did come in early after its founding. The team was formed out of frustration. Many of the people on the team at the time were part of the Ohio Military Reserve. And when there was a request for services, it has to go through processes, paperwork, and they thought that was ridiculous. Let's start something. Let's start our own search and rescue team. It was started in mind to bring a standard to search and rescue in Ohio. Some states have very good organization and standards that you have to meet. Ohio right now is one of the states where you say you're search and rescue and somebody believes you, then you're search and rescue. So you get a mixed bag. I'm not saying everybody's bad. I'm not saying everybody's good, but we decided we wanted to be above, start a standard, start reaching out and seeking special skills and things like that. That's actually how I came onto the team, being a canine handler and trainer for nonprofits and other things. So they brought me in to run the canine division. And a few years later, it's like, hey, we're going to make you the commander. So here we are.
Wonderful, wonderful. And would you like to discuss a few or just a successful recovery that comes to mind? I know you all have done disaster
Mm-hmm.
response and so many
Mm-hmm.
different types of recoveries under dire circumstances that you can recall.
Yeah, we did one locally. We've actually done a couple in my career here locally in Mansfield for elderly people, dementia patients that wandered off. The one in particular I'm kind of remembering, they had brought in other search teams. They brought in a bloodhound handler. They brought in a lot of people. The dog had tracked one way. We ran our off-lead area dogs to no success. It's like there is nobody in this area. How about we try another area? At the commander at the time, I said, listen, there's one area I really want to look at. And he said, go do what you do. And we went in the area, and my dog Raven, who's since retired and passed away, found the man standing over top of him barking. So he was recovered alive, fortunately.
Wow.
So
Wonderful. Wonderful. And I'm also aware that there have been several sort of, I would say, mass rescue operations, whereas
mhm,
there's some sort of natural disaster, a hurricane or a
yep.
tornado that has hit a certain area. If you can discuss a time whereas your team was called out and just kind of the outcome of those sorts of rescue operations.
Okay. Some of the members on our team were at several of the hurricanes, Hurricane Katrina, Andrew. We've had a few people who were at 9/11. I wasn't personally. We did go to North Carolina a few years ago after the hurricane to help recover some bodies. The sheriff had called me and said, I need some good cadaver dogs. Some of
Mhm.
the dogs the cadaver dogs are hitting on dead animals and dead fish and things like that. Our dogs are trained away from that stuff. Only human remains. So I said, yeah, we'll come down. We'll give it a try. We did help recover um, an adult female and found a thumb. And to this day, I don't think they found where the thumb belongs, unfortunately. But we did respond in that disaster. Locally, we had a tornado. There's one house that we searched to make sure nobody alive was in. Fortunately, there was nobody there. So yeah, we've done a few. There was a another case that I thought was kind of interesting because we do some weird cases.
Mhm.
These people's house had burned down. Prior to their house burning down, their child had passed away. So they had the child in an urn, and they're like, "Hey, is there any way you can help find the urn or some of the remains for our baby that had passed?" We sent a dog, and we were able to recover some of the remains and some of the piece of that. One of them we recovered a tooth. A little girl had knocked a tooth out in the water while swimming, and we brought the dog in, and we were able to help recover the tooth. So
Okay.
there's been a few weird cases, but yeah. And disaster wise, like I said, we have varied members who've been at most of the big disasters in the last 20-25 years.
Wow. So, from what I'm gathering, your team is very skilled at finding those sort of needles in a haystack, so to
Yes.
speak, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
We do
absolutely.
a training called lost person behavior, which is a mathematical study of where these people are most likely to be found. It's not always foolproof, but it does help at least give us an area to start and then work our way out um, and find. So yeah, we take 60 to 70 classes, and the members are really good about taking even more. I get new classes all the time. They're very hardworking group. Very proud of them.
Wow, wonderful. And I have just been reviewing some of the services offered on your website, and I see that there is a backcountry and
Mhm.
wilderness operation
Mhm.
that you carry out. Could you kind of describe that? What does that entail?
Let's say you have a lost, overdue hiker, hunter, something like that. We can go out into those areas, and if we have to, be out there for days to look for those people and self-sustain. So that's more the backcountry area, woods, things like that. We have done some rock climbing type things. We don't do a lot. Ohio, fortunately, doesn't have a whole lot of mountains and areas that we have to climb up and down, but we do have those capabilities if we need. I've been in other states, Michigan, upper UP, where they were like, hey, watch for bears, wolverines, and mean people that don't want you on their property. And that was quite remote. We spent the week in a tent. Um,
Oh,
so, yeah, in the cold.
wow, wow. Whew, that it seems like it's very tedious and it takes a lot of energy and just kind of self-sacrifice from what I'm hearing in
Oh,
terms of
absolutely. Absolutely.
that.
Some of our members actually take time off work. My job, fortunately, will let me off to go and pay me as a public service. But yeah, some of these people sacrifice pay and sacrifice time at work. I burned through a lot of vacation days to go help, but you know, what better way to have a vacation than to go help somebody?
Absolutely. And I was reading about the urban missing person searches that
Yes.
your team frequently carries out, and
Mhm.
what's different about that sort of operation in contrast to the backcountry and wilderness searches.
A lot of times in the urban environment, you're dealing with property owners, smaller areas, tighter areas. You have more outbuildings. You have, um, rivers, and you just have a lot of different hazards and a lot of things to work through. Dogs, particularly in the woods and on the grass, track very well, do a lot better. In the urban areas, not so much. There's not as much vegetation, but we're capable of deploying anywhere and working with any environment. So, but
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. Also, I learned that your team has been deployed to more than like 9 national disasters. And so, what type of training, well, to assist with recovery and rescue in those sorts of situations? So, what type of trainings has your team been prepared for,
Mhm.
if that makes sense, the skills that they've accumulated from those trainings?
We, like I said, we take 60 plus classes. So some of the trainings we take, I explain lost person behavior. Um, we take search strategy, self-preservation, first aid CPR, extraction classes, landing zone in case we have to bring a helicopter in to extract us or insert us or the victim.
Mhm.
I mean, there's just a lot of classes. A lot of it is more theory type stuff to think about versus actual practical stuff. We do train once a month uh, for every Sunday for canine, but we do train once a month with the team.
Mhm.
Sometimes we'll take an old building and we'll practice extracting people, victims out of the building. I like to set my team up quite a bit. I might have a blind victim. I might have a deaf victim. I might have an uncooperative victim. Somebody with a broken leg. So they have to learn to pack these people up properly and extract them without harming them or doing more harm. Um, gets a lot of work in. We actually just did one a few weeks ago and threw some curveballs at them. We take autism training, uh, dementia training, crime scene preservation. Like I said, there's 60 to 70 courses just to be operational on our team. I don't want to say we don't take people out. I think people learn a lot in the field, and they sometimes out in the field teaches you what you don't know. So I got to learn this so the next time I'm more prepared. But in order to be operational, fully operational, we want you to have at least most of the 60, if not all. So I've been through the National Star School a couple of times. You go in, they give you a mathematical equation about that long, and you're like, oh my God. But it's working through the program, and you understand in the end what it's there for. So,
Absolutely. And in a phone conversation that we had the other day, we were discussing your underwater searches. And so, if you
mhm,
could just go in more in the detail for all of our viewers out there, explaining what that entails, or what type of tools or technology or
mhm.
digital resources you're using to perform these sort of searches for like large bodies of water such as Lake Erie, Lake Michigan.
Mhm. We use cadaver dogs primarily. where a dog can go out on a boat, sniff the water, and then it'll indicate to the handler if there's a presence of human remains odor. Um, we do rely on the fire departments and police departments to use some sonar stuff. Um, there are underwater drones. There's a lot of technologies out there. We're currently fundraising for a new technology called Aqua Eye, which kind of looks like a big controller for a video game, maybe. You can put it in the water and it will help locate stuff in the water. It's a lot better than a sonar because you don't have to know how to read it. It just kind of says this is a tree, this is a rock, this could be a body or human remains. And that narrows it down enough so that we're not just kind of throwing darts in a big lake. We can say, hey, this is the area, and send divers down to look. We do have a couple of guys on our team. One's a retired actual rescue diver and a retired commercial diver. So we have some recreational divers, things like that. Generally with that, we do refer back to the fire department or the police department. That's what they do for a living, and let them, go down and do their job. We do have our own boat, so a lot of times going out on the boat really helps narrow down the area with the HRD cadaver canines.
Wow, that is amazing. That sounds very in depth. We also in that phone chat that we discussed the 2024 disappearance of Janiyah McMichael, and she was only 13 years of age when she vanished or was last seen alive in Gary, Indiana. There are advocates of Janiyah McMichael and local search organizations. They have expressed that they believe that she unfortunately, could have been discarded in the Grand Calumet River, possibly as far back as August of 2024. And so, with that being stated, keeping that in mind, do you believe at this point? My first question is what's the likelihood or possibility that she could be recovered from that river after such an extended period of time, if she's there?
It could be a tough search, but it is highly possible. They have found victims that have been in the water, discarded for several years. A lot of things come into play, kind of like same thing as the Lake Erie search. If her body snagged somewhere, that would help because it stops. I don't know, likelihood, we'll give it a shot. We'd love to give it a shot, see what we could do. The worst we can do is clear an area. Sometimes in search and rescue, that's all it is. We clear an area. Well, we may not have found the person, but we know where they're not. And that gives law enforcement and search and rescue to move on. We do have divers. We could send some divers down and see what we have and what we could find. But yeah, it's always worth giving a shot, and you never know till you try. We have had cases where we've tried and succeeded, and we've had cases where we said, listen, we don't think they're there. Unfortunately, with us, that seems to be the big thing. A lot of times it's clearing an area. Sometimes information is bad. We were on a case where they swore this young lady would never take off with anybody. And turns out she met a guy online who grabbed her at the park and found out she was being human trafficked. Luckily, they caught her before he got to Mexico. But we cleared the park and said, hey, she's not here. We don't know where she could be. No sign of her here. And that gave law enforcement, hey, okay, quit looking in the park. Let's look somewhere else. And luckily, she was recovered. So.
Wow. And that's great that you're working alongside law enforcement and helping to give law enforcement a clear, I would say, guide or direction in terms of where to start their investigations, or maybe what direction that they should go in terms of their investigation into searching for so many different missing people. And so I'm just delighted that you're open to searching for Janiyah, or deploying a team to search for her.
Mm-hmm.
For family members of Janiyah who may be listening right now in the Gary Police Department, could you just kind of walk through the process of, how does one go about securing your team to actually travel into Gary, Indiana, and perform an underwater search for her?
We are a 501c3 nonprofit, so we don't charge. We only deploy if we're called by law enforcement, EMA, fire department, somebody official to call and say, "Hey, we'd like you to come and give it a shot and come help us on this." The reason is we are private citizens. We're just like anybody else. So if we showed up on a crime scene, we could be arrested if we're not invited in. So yeah, they just have to reach out to me. They can reach out to you. You have my contact. That would be great. But yeah, reach out to law enforcement, EMA, someone like that. Fire department would be more than glad to come in. One of the things I forgot to mention, I wanted to mention, we have the only certified human trafficking dog in the country. One of our dogs, Sarah Gentry, my training partner, her dog actually was the Canine Ace Award winner a few years ago for the AKC for search and rescue. So an amazing dog. Unfortunately, will be retiring soon, but we are working some new dogs. But yeah, have law enforcement reach out to us, fire, EMS. We'll be more than glad to come in and give it a shot.
Okay. And could you discuss, I saw that there was some sort of intake form, if you want to discuss that online for people to fill out.
Yeah, they can do the intake form, or they could just call the number on the website, or like I said, reach out to you. You have my number. Call me personally. I have no problem with that. And I will get the information we need, the days, the times, and we'll put our team together and we'll come over and see what we can do and hopefully help.
Wow, that's amazing. So I'm really grateful that you have taken the time out to join us and discuss all of the different types of resources that you're using to search for people, not just in the state of Ohio, but it seems like across the U.S. And and thank you for everything that you're doing. I just want to thank your entire team. I know that they're not with you right now, but thank them for everything that they've done. You're doing great work. I did not want to carry on this conversation for too long. If there is anything else that you would like to say at this time, we're all ears as we kind of wrap up.
I really don't have anything else that I haven't said, other than, like I said, we're volunteer service. We love the search. It's what we do. You and I were supposed to meet yesterday and have this discussion, but we got called out. Luckily, very successful search. So if somebody needs us, please have law enforcement and fire reach out. We'll be more than glad to come in, bring our resources, and hopefully do what we can.
Wow, great. So thank you so much. And I want you to have a great day.
You too. And
all right, bye-bye now. Bye, everyone.
Kevin Collins, CEO of KC Bodyguard Services, has been searching for Janiyah McMichael all over Northwest Indiana and beyond since her reported disappearance back in August of 2024. The Ohio Special Response Team has formally issued an offer to assist with that effort by conducting a specialized underwater of the Grand Calumet River for Janiyah. However, as of July of 2026, The deployment remains pending an invitation or authorization from the Gary Police Department before the volunteer water recovery team can legally begin their operations. Pebbles, executive news producer of Missing, Lost in Traffic, and Lured, Lost and Unsolved. For now, signing out. Marking 2 agonizing years since the disappearance of 15-year-old Janiyah McMichael, her father has announced plans to lead a public protest against the Gary Police Department. The demonstration is scheduled for August 12th of 2026, exactly 2 years to the day after Jasmine Ann McMichael, Janiyah's mother, first reported the teenager missing at 7:40 a.m. on August 12th of 2024, the morning that marked the first day of school for Gary Lighthouse Charter School across both its primary and upper campuses. The protest will convene at the Gary Police Department located at 555 Polk Street, Gary, Indiana 46402, according to a flyer posted by Rogers to the Woulda Roster TikTok account. The demonstration is slated to begin at 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. In the wake of the upcoming anniversary, Northwest Indiana residents and concerned citizens from across the country have passionately voiced their belief that a mass demonstration must be organized to demand accountability and intensified search efforts. Public frustration has reached a boiling point among individuals closely following the case, many of whom have expressed deep disgust and outrage in response to the recent decisions made by law enforcement leadership. Specifically, community members are heavily criticizing Gary Police Department Commander Justin Clark for reportedly rejecting an offer from the Ohio Special Response Team to conduct a free specialized underwater search of the Grand Calumet River for Janiyah. Independent investigators and advocacy groups, including the organization Missing, Lost in Traffic, maintain the theory that Janiyah's remains may have been discarded in the Grand Calumet River, pointing specifically to areas near Broadway Street or the 2800 block of Georgia Street in Gary, Indiana. The harrowing hypothesis stems from a series of tips and statements gathered during the investigation, including a report from a sibling who allegedly stated that Janiyah was put in water, as well as corroborating accounts provided by an area informant. The urgency surrounding the case intensified significantly when the Federal Bureau of Investigations formally announced on April 28th of 2025 that they believe 15-year-old Janiyah McMichael is the victim of foul play and is in serious danger. Janiyah was only 13 years of age when her mother reported her missing. For those wishing to support ongoing advocacy efforts, a petition has been launched by Missing, Lost in Traffic on change.org, urging the Gary Police Department to immediately conduct a comprehensive water search and recovery operation for Janiyah McMichael. Pebbles, executive news producer of Missing, Lost in Traffic, and Lured, Lost and Unsolved. For now, signing out.